conceptual perspective, then people talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and are not committed to the struggle? Acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Careful who you leave toeless.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Look, I hope everything's going well. It's Friday. For many of you, it's the end of the work week. Hopefully you've pushed through and accomplished some exceptional and extraordinary things over the course of the week. Whether you've had what you consider to be an awesome week or whether you've had some challenging moments that may inhibit you, I want to encourage you to consistently move in the direction that you have established as you move towards your purpose, your destiny, and understand that there are going to be moments in which you experience delay. Understand that there will be moments that you experience setbacks. There will be moments that there will be the illusion of obstacles in your way. And I use the term illusion because an obstacle has the real possibility of throwing you off and inhibiting you. But when you truly understand the power you have inside of you, within your mind, to reach out into the consciousness of God, into the mind of God, and actually get the answer to whatever enigmatic puzzle that is serving as your obstacle, when you realize that every answer to every situation and every challenge is available to you, that nothing stumps the mind of God, and you have access to God when you understand how to align yourself, then it's an illusion. I end my morning motivation with the final affirmation and confirmation of who I am and how I operate. And at the end of this particular confirmation, which is probably about maybe 3 to 4 minutes long, at the end it says that no matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it because it is nothing but an illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me, around me, and serves me now. And that's just the end of it. But when you understand that whatever's going on right now is a temporal situation, and you don't define who you are or what you're capable of by temporal situations. You define yourself by purpose, by intent, by design, by vision, and you move and you work and you build towards this vision. And with that being said, I just want to kind of touch bases with you on that. Guess what, people? It is Quantum Physics Friday. And we're going to talk about the mind because the mind plays such a powerful role. The mind and the brain plays such a powerful role in the realities that we create in our lives. Now, I've talked about this in depth, and I've talked about this frequently. I've actually made some notes this morning. A lot of times I just come in and I go based on where I'm at and I can flow. The problem is with this particular topic, I can literally go for hours on end, and I want to draw a complete diagram, image-wise, in your mind of what's possible while doing it succinctly. And so I don't want you to have to watch hours and hours of video to come to a conclusion. I want you to be able to see it. So to keep myself in check, because those who know me know, getting online and staying on a point may not be my strong suit because so many things are firing simultaneously. Simultaneously, I kind of can just go so many different directions. And so I want to try to really, really stay on point here. I always end up connecting it, but I don't want to take those digressions today if I can help it. I want to kind of stay on point. People talk about change a lot. People talk about the desire to change. People have bought into a number of different philosophies. Some people have bought into the philosophy of, pretty much the old school of thought, which was after about the age of 5, 6, or 7, you're pretty much set in who you're going to be personality wise, temperament and everything. You're pretty much going to live life based on what you've developed in way of self-image, self-confidence, and all these things by age 5. It was the belief that who you are is hardwired into you by the age 5 to 7. Well, we now know that that's not true. We have this thing that we now know of called neuroplasticity, meaning that every time you engage something new in life, you create new neuroreceptors. In your mind, these neuroreceptors hold philosophies, concepts, ideas, beliefs, and you can create an entire new belief. And every time you learn something new and you create these new receptors, you literally change your mind and your way of thinking. However, slightly over the process, but consistently engaging new ideas and concepts that are more beneficial than the old ones will do two things. It will create an entire new way of thinking, and it will eventually cause the old ideas and thoughts, because they're no longer being engaged and used. Those wires and synaptic connections will eventually atrophy and dwindle away and have no longer have influence over your thought processes. This is how you go from believing and thinking and expecting one thing to believing and thinking and expecting others. And we all know through the study of the mind that what you produce in your mind by way of thought and belief is manifested in your behavior. It's manifested in your expectations, your faith, and your thinking, and ultimately manifest in bringing these type of situations in reality to you. And so the ability to change is important. What I want to talk to you about is an idea or a reality called metacognition. We learned and we started making leaps and bounds in understanding cognitive influence in the 60s. Moving from the 50s, moving to the 60s, and the pioneer for that was a guy by the name of Dr. Aaron T. Beck, who is widely respected as the father of cognitive therapy. We now have a combination of therapy that includes cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy, and it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. But it all started with the understanding of the power of the subconscious mind and the thousands and thousands upon thoughts that take place in the subconscious mind that the conscious mind is not even aware of, but these thoughts influence behavior. We've learned that 96% of our behavior, 97% of our behavior every day is controlled by our subconscious. We do it automatically based off beliefs, ideas, concepts, principles, philosophies that have been accepted as truths that govern our behavior in our lives. This is the subconscious. So the beauty of metacognition is there's an awareness that you can have of where you're at any given time and the thoughts that got you there. You can be aware of, I'm stressing right now because I am suffering from an anxiety attack right now because I'm in a place of doubt and diminished confidence and performance capacity because I've been thinking A, B, C, or D. You can literally think that. Now, here's the beauty of that. This cognitive awareness, which is what metacognition is, this cognitive awareness that you have now gives you an understanding of where your reality is coming from. It's not abstract. It's not just popping up out of nowhere. It is the fruit of your thinking. You got to think from your subconscious mind. You're producing around 60 to 70 thoughts, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. You are functioning with a brain that has the capacity to fire off electronic impulses that trigger these thoughts at a rate that exceeds all of the electronic impulses produced by every cell phone on this planet simultaneously. So combined, you got all the impulses of all cell phones that exist, and your brain is firing more. That's the power of your brain. Now, what you have to understand is the reason that we have this metacognition is because of the evolution of the brain. You have the neocortex, which is the newest part of the brain. And normally when you see a picture of a brain, you're looking at the neocortex. It looks like a walnut's got all these crevices and valleys in it, and it sits on the outer side, the outer edges of the brain. But right underneath that, you have the limbic system. The limbic system is the emotional center. And under that, you have what's sometimes called the reptilian brain, the oldest part of the brain, which is highly instinctive. It is what triggers fight or flight response. It's what triggers. But the limbic system is the emotional center. It's what creates the chemical balances and the chemical order and the maintenance of these chemical orders within the brain structure. And the body literally can feel what these chemicals create. And so the body is communicating primarily with the emotional center. That's one of the reasons why you get more memory out of things you experienced on an emotional high, whether it was fear, whether it was happiness, whether it was anger. Those things stick because there's a holistic engagement of body, mind, and brain. And so what happens is you can literally create these neural pathways with engaging new ideas. So say, for instance, my metacognition or my cognitive awareness says that I think negatively and that my negativity creates negative expectations. And that those negative expectations in turn create a high level of anxiety because I'm expecting something bad to happen. Okay, then I can kind of understand where these thoughts are coming from. And they come from all types of experiences. Every experience you have in life is imprinting upon your brain. While you may not be able to easily recall it in your conscious mind, your subconscious goes right to it. And your subconscious automatically categorizes everything that it intakes. And then it creates these interconnected networks that cross references. So you can have a situation that's doing with one thing. You have a situation where there are these beliefs about dogs. And okay, in some kind of way, you got a reality that and a way of thinking about dogs based on these experiences, but it will also connect you to other references that have to do with specific dogs, specific geographic locations with dogs, all kind of other things. It'll cross-reference that with whatever categorical fixed file it has in the brain on that. And within milliseconds of coming in contact with any type of stimuli, it's cross-referenced all of the things that exist and produce to you a reality that you must now react to. This is why you can walk into situations and all of a sudden your heart rate starts to rise. You start to get clammy. You start to get edgy. You're actually going into fight or flight, which is a threat response, but there's no threat. But there is this person in your office that you can't stand, that you have to have a meeting with now. Maybe your boss, maybe the vice president, maybe you don't get along with your in-laws and your mother-in-law is on the way over, and you're in fight or flight. You're literally in fight or flight, but there's nobody to fight, nobody to run from. So now you have to create these thought processes that bring you in, reel you in, and you start to evaluate. Now, the beautiful thing about it is you may not handle that initial threat response very well because you don't have a built-up idea of an alternative reality. You haven't studied, you haven't looked, you haven't researched, you haven't engaged and created a different way of doing things. So it's going to be a little off. But what you do is, now that you know that there's a problem, every time my mother-in-law calls, I get anxious. So what do? You start to understand and look at ways that you can change. But there's something about your mother-in-law that makes you anxious. Maybe she's judgmental. Maybe she never wanted you to marry her daughter. You know, whatever it is, you're going to have to change your perception. You're going to have to change it. You're going to have to engage new thinking. And this goes along with money. This goes along with marriage. This goes along with business. This goes along with anything that you're engaging that's not producing fruit. You got to look at why. There's no such thing as abstract realities or coincidence. It means that you are in some way engaging it from a mental perspective, from a place in the mind, which is simply your brain in action, where you are not properly processing it or not processing it according to your benefits. This is why you can get two people who go through the same traumatic event and come out with two totally different results. Perception. the ability to engage it in the mind and see it in a way from which you can benefit from it. If you make up in your mind, no matter what I go through, I'm going to find a way to win. I'm going to turn things. I mean, and from a spiritual or religious perspective, it's there as well. If you are a Christian, it's you know, it says that God works all things for the good. It also says what the enemy meant for evil, God meant for good. And so if you can get that in your mindset, you can sit up and say, it doesn't matter what is happening to me. It matters what I do to it. It matters how I respond to it. It matters what I think about it. And so in other words, I'm going to create these new neuroreceptors based off of information that I engage. Now, here's the thing. It's not a one-off thing. That's what a lot of people do. They'll go off and they'll do their affirmations, or they'll say the positive things. And then they'll come back in an environment where the natural part of their mind and the established belief is still in control, and they will allow that one session where they spoke the positive things to be overwhelmed by the million thoughts that come behind it that undo it. You've got to consistently take on a new idea that transcends and dismisses the old idea. If you believe based off of your environment that you grew up in, you know, you grew up in poverty. Everybody in your family is at some level of poverty. You don't have anybody that you can look at in your immediate surroundings that suggests that there's any way to escape poverty. And so now you've bought into the idea that poverty is my lot in life. I have nothing I can do. I'm simply one of those people that's going to be a part of the impoverished population for the rest of my life. That's a powerful thought. That's a powerful belief. And check this out. It will dictate your behavior, which will reinforce the belief. See, the belief says I can't. And it was Rumi that initially said it. Henry Ford come along and said it after that. But Rumi said that he who thinks he can and he who thinks he can't are usually both right. And what does that mean? Because what I believe is going to dictate my behavior. That's called the works of faith. And see, most people, when they think of faith, they only think of the positive side. You know, I believe that I'm going to be blessed. I believe that I'm going to have favor. I believe that I'm going to get an increase. I believe that I'm going to get a raise. That's one side of faith, but I believe that I'm going to get fired. I believe that I'm going to be poor. I believe that I'm going to be broke. I believe that's faith as well. And you have to start seeing it. What my beliefs anchor me in is my faith. Am I believing good? Am I believing bad for myself? Because they're both are going to produce fruit. If I believe and expect bad, I get bad. If I believe and expect good, I get good. And people are saying, well, good people go through bad things. Yes, but good people who have an expectation of winning turn the bad thing into a good thing, and they move through it. Nobody is exempt from the vicissitudes of life. Nobody is exempt from delay. Nobody is exempt from persecution. Nobody's exempt from being disliked. Nobody's exempt from loss and all of the other things that people are automatically and inevitably going to experience. That's not where the winning takes place, not in some form of exemption or some form of coveted favor that only a certain few are access to. It is in the mind and the interpretation of the situation in which people win or lose. See, the person who believes life is happening to them is already lost because they have no influence or impact on it. It's simply happening to them. The person who believes that life is responding to them, or even better, life is happening for them, not to them, they understand that they have an influence. They understand that they can change the things that they're not happy with. They understand that comes with work, that comes with a certain level of discomfort, but it's possible. It's about your influence. It's about what you give to it. It's not about anybody else's influence. We even put way too much weight on God. And that's not going to sit well with a lot of people. But let me explain what I mean. You got a bunch of people waiting around for God to do for them what God designed them to do. That's as simple as I can put it. You have a bunch of people waiting around for God to do for them what God designed them to do. And in that instance, it's never going to happen. God is never going to move you out of the way and relieve you of your responsibility, of your purpose. That's not going to happen. I've said it a different way. God is never going to rescue you from the giants he sent you to slay. There are some things in this world you were sent here to overcome so that other people can observe you overcoming it and understand that it's not as big of an obstacle as it has always been believed to be. And that's your responsibility. You are literally created for it, and you are never going to escape it. You may run around it, you may avoid it, you may decide not to, but you're never going to be delivered from it, rescued from it, and given a pass on it. It's coming, and you're going to either deal with it or you're not, but it's coming. And then when you don't deal with it, you're accepting a lesser fate than your purpose and your destiny. You are wallowing in mediocrity out of fear of failure. And so what am I getting at? I'm getting at, in essence, this, and then I'll actually kind of cut it off here. You got the opportunity to literally build a mind that performs. Or you can allow your past to simply archive memories that point to things that are less than ideal, and they become the record keeper and the reminder of your limitations. Or you can engage entirely new ideas, create new neural synaptic connections, new neural pathways. And then here's the beauty of it. As these things are created, they're connected in category. And then the saying is, neurons that fire together, wire together. So now they're starting to connect. And now there are these intricate interconnections within your brain that connects you to all of the possibilities that you've created through the new ideas that you're engaging that says that nothing is impossible. See, impossibility is a mindset. It's not a reality, it's a mindset. It's what you accept. You're going to always function at your level, the level of your expectations. You're always going to function at what you believe will happen, because what you believe will happen will govern your behavior. If you believe that there's no way you're going to overcome poverty, while there will be people who will come along suggesting A, B, C, and D, and they will be observant of you and they will hold you accountable, you will feel some obligation to do what they've shared with you, but you already believe that it's not going to work. What are the chances that you're going to go out and give your all to something you don't believe is going to work? The chances aren't high at all. The chances are you're going to go out and go through the routine. You're going to go through the motions so you can say, I tried. And that's what so many do. They just go through the motions so they can say, I already tried that. I already tried that. It just doesn't work for me. How long did you try it? How hard did you try it? How committed have you been to it, or have you quit already? Now, what happens is, because I believe it's not going to work, I don't put in the work. Then I get the results back that you get when you don't put in the work, and those results aren't good. And guess what they do? They reinforce the initial belief that I can't. So what are the chances the next time it's trying to try, I try harder? No, the chances are I'm going to try even less, because I've already proven to myself it doesn't work. I'm just getting these people off my back that keeps telling me to do it. Now, on the flip side, if you believe that it's going to work, you go out there and you put your best foot forward, because you understand the importance of giving it all you've got. You're giving your best foot forward. You believe something's going to happen. Number one is the energy you're emitting from the positive beliefs and the positive expectations are going to attract to you people who will open doors for you, attract to you people that you don't know that will speak power and positivity into your life, attract to you people who will come along and confirm the things that you believe by way of testimony and witnessing and sharing what they've been through and how it worked for them. You will begin to attract the level of frequency and vibration you're emitting because you believe it, and you're on a higher level. Just because you believe something good is about to happen, you're going to attract the people who will help you make it happen. And many times it will not be those people you want it to be. It won't be family, it won't be friends, it won't be people you grew up with. They're still judging you based off of the person they grew up with, the person they lived with, the person they birthed and gave life to. They're still trying to judge you off the old things, and while you're constantly creating new things. But you have to have the ability to believe in yourself when nobody else does, because that's where magic happens. That's where extraordinary and phenomenal things are birthed. In a time when everything around you is doubting, but you're believing. That's what makes the exceptional. That's what makes the extraordinary. That's what separates mediocrity from greatness. You've got to have in your mindset a commitment to winning and a belief that it's possible. And then what happens? When you put that in and you attract the people and you get the positive results, what does it do? It challenges you to try even harder next time. You're building a cycle upward instead of a spiral downward, and it all comes from here. Your thoughts have physicality, so they're moving on people every day. They're either repelling them and pushing them away or drawing them to you. So you got to understand that if I'm on a negative frequency, if I'm on a negative mindset, I'm pushing away positivity and I'm attracting more negative people. After a while, I have an entire group of people that are expert complainers and can point out and find everything wrong with every possibility. They are going to constantly pour into me and reaffirm my own negative beliefs. And then I'm going to find myself in this group of people and I will be complaining until I decide to change my thinking. On the flip side, if I'm thinking positive, I will repel the negative people. I will repel negative ideas, negative thoughts, negative situations. And even when one slips through, I will interpret it differently. See, I won't see it as a problem. I'll see it as a puzzle. Puzzles are meant to be solved. The mind of God has the answer. I am never stumped because I am directly connected to the mind of God. It is in me, it is around me, and it serves me. It is in me and around me, and I can call upon it for my slightest need. I am never stumped. I am never frenetic and unglued. I don't get all wild out when things don't go my way. I'm telling you, because I push so hard, because I reach so far, I'm always running into things because I don't take the comfortable way. I don't take the, if I can definitely do it, I'm not doing enough. I got to push beyond what I believe is automatic. I got to go for something that's probably not going to happen immediately when I think it will, but will over the long haul take me places I've never been. And in the short run, make sure I've got every ounce out of me. See, the thing is, when you put yourself on something that's going to stretch you for everything you've got just to achieve it, it ensures you leave nothing on the table. That's what I mean when I say I live my life on full. I don't go for the automatic easy win. I go for the thing that's going to stretch me to my fullest capacity. And so if we're defining failure by not getting what you set out to get when you set out to get it, I fail all the time. But if we're going to define success as constantly moving forward toward a worthwhile goal and achieving things that most people will not, then I'm successful. And being that I don't care how other people define me, I'm defining myself based off of what I've been able to do, not the fact that I hardly ever hit the goal on the allotted time. I don't hit it because I set it high. I'm not trying to go for some record of every goal I set, I hit. If that's the case, you ain't setting them high enough, player. It's that simple. How high are you setting them? That's the question. Are you setting them high enough to challenge you? Or are you setting them easy so that it looks like you can't lose? But you're losing because you're leaving potential on the table. Look, I'm going to leave it right there. I hope that, everybody was able to get something out of it. I'm not sure, what it is you're striving for, but it's possible. The thing is, are you engaging the right stimuli? Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Are you creating the right thinking process? Are you changing your mind? And that's the thing, every day you should be changing your mind. You should be evolving. You should be going to the next level. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be changing your mind by engaging new ideas that open up possibilities. On that note, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full every day so that when I leave this place, I will die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing. And on that note, I'm out of here. Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here. I hope that you guys are off to a great start as far as your week is concerned. I hope that you are uh, coming off of a good week where things went well, were profitable, prosperous, and productive. Even if it wasn't, make a recommitment this week, make the necessary adjustments, and get back in the game. This is a marathon. This is a game of perseverance and resilience. It is about making the necessary adjustments. It's about remaining committed and finishing what you're starting. Not everything is going to go your way. That's something that you're going to have an understanding of and be okay with, because things simply happen. Nobody's perfect. No situation is perfect. There's always going to be something that you're working against. That is a part of the process. You have to prepare yourself to be in process. You have to give yourself permission to be in process. The moment that there's nothing wrong with the pursuit of perfection. But what you have to understand is the pursuit of perfection is the pursuit of completion. And in the pursuit of completion, you are going to be always moving towards it. When you're complete and finished, you're done. That means you finished your work. That's the end of the game. That's when you shut it down and you call it a wrap at the end of life. When you look up and you are able to read the pages of your legacy that you've built, that you're leaving the world, that's when you reach perfection, is when it's done. It's not about everything being absolutely in alignment. Perfection is completion. It means that what you started to do has been absolutely done to its fullest. There's nothing left to do. And so you're pursuing perfection, but perfection is a far way off. What you're doing is you're going through the process of achieving perfection. And in the midst of that, you're going to have disruptions. You've got to be okay with that. That's just simply the way it is. I'm going to be brief again this week, but I just want to hit something home. There are a number of different things that are at the top of the list, say the top 10 reasons why people fail at business. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is definitely in the top 5. And it's an unwillingness or an inability to invest in oneself. And when I say that, I mean in every way possible. Investing time, investing energy, investing effort, investing capital, currency, and resources into yourself. I see people all the time attempting to fund business ideas that they have not invested in themselves. One of the things that an average venture capitalist or angel funder or someone that understands what investment in business and venture is, one of the things they're going to look at, how much have you already put in of your own resources, whether it's time, energy, effort, money. They're going to want to see what's invested. Just the idea alone is not going to attract true investors, people who will put in the money necessary to fund your idea. There's money out there. There's always capital out there. There's always resources. And I tell people all the time, your number one resource is your resourcefulness. It's not the money you have in the bank. It's not the people you have on speed dial. It's not your potential investors. It's your resourcefulness, the ability to know what you need and find a way to get it. That's going to be what holds you together. That's going to be what provides the confidence to create calmness in some very hostile and volatile situations as you're trying to work this thing out. It is a process. But the thing is that most people want something, but they don't want to invest in it. I tell people all the time, what I see with most people is they have a wish list versus a list of goals, aspirations, and benchmarks. And what's the difference between goals and wishes? Goals are something you look at, you measure the cost, and you pay the price. Goals are something you sit up and you say, okay, I'm going to have to put this in. I'm going to have to invest this. I'm going to have to take this much time. I have to do this. Then you pay the price and you reap the reward. A wish list is those things. Is a list of things people want but are not willing to pay for, not willing to put in the work for, not willing to be committed to. That's a wish list. It's just something on paper that looks nice, and it would be fun if you were able to do it. It would be great if you were able to have it. But the truth of the matter is, you're not putting in the work. You're not investing. You're not putting skin in the game. And then you'll turn around and want people to support something in which you have not supported. Sitting up and saying you want to do it, sitting up saying that you're good enough to do it is not enough. You have to be able to put in the work. You have to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to take some of your own paper and invest it in yourself, invest it in courses, invest it in material, invest it in inventory, invest it in whatever it needs to grow you. You're going to have to invest in yourself at some point in time. You're going to have to become better than you are, because you have people out there that are competing for the same market, and you have to have an understanding of how you're going to establish and distinguish yourself in the market. You can't go into a market and think just because you're offering something that people will automatically gravitate to it. So you got to know how to brand. You're going to have to invest in your branding, in your marketing campaign. You're going to have an ad spend. I don't care what it is you're doing. Organic business is great. It's a good supplement, but primarily you got to have a tried and proven method of driving business to you. And then you got to have a tried and proven method of retaining the business, because that's business longevity, not conversion, but retention. And you have to understand that conversion is turning someone that's not a customer into a customer. Businesses live off of retention, taking customers you have converted and retaining them through developing relationships with them that create what we call trust. And that's where you get your customer loyalty from. It's in the process of knowing how to do all of these things, but that doesn't come free. That has a cost to it. And what I see and what really bothers me is how many people want something that they're not willing to invest in. And then they expect someone else to invest in them. You are going to have to be your first investor. You're going to have to find, I don't care if you don't have a dime in your pocket, you've got to find a way to put some skin in the game. You got to find a way to be invested. You got to show somebody the effort you've put into being what you say you're going to be if they back you. That may be 10,000 hours of research and analytical processing that says, I've literally put 10,000 hours into understanding this. I know the market inside and out. Here's my plan. This is how it will work. This is how it compares to this. I've done this work. I've put it in. And then if you've got money, you can't hold money and expect to get money. You're going to have to put some money out there, invest in some things that will bring back a reward. You've got to understand that principle. You are going to have to be willing to put money in the game, put energy in the game, put effort in the game to a point where you literally develop momentum spiritually. I know we're talking business, but you've got to develop a momentum spiritually that the universe is hearing you, that the universe is responding to you, that the universe is answering your demands. And life and the universe and whatever else you want to say will pay whatever price you demand, but it's going to have a counter demand. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you sacrifice some time. If you say you want this business, the universe is going to demand that you take some money that you might want to spend on a vacation or something else and invest it in this business idea. The universe is going to demand that you prove that you're consistently, entirely committed to having it. And then the universe is going to say, now I'll meet you halfway. I will conspire with you to produce this thing you want. It has to be done in that way. I cannot stress this enough. With that being said, I'm going to check out of here. Got so much more to do, but I had to stop by this morning and give you this. Take it at face value, take it for what it is. But I'm telling you, if you don't invest in you, you can't expect anybody else to. And there is just this dynamic that is created when you put blood, sweat, tears, and money into something you believe in. You really truly own it, and it becomes a part of who you are, and it becomes a dynamic force that moves you forward. You know, it's just a wish until you put some skin in the game. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. As I always say, live your life on full so that you die on E. Have a great day.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about success, all of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment, and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.